Photographs and Memories, a travel market life series sponsored by Atomize.
My memory maker today is Simone Puorto. Welcome to Photographs and Memories with me, Michael McCartan. Each episode we invite an industry professional to share 3 photographs and a treasured souvenir from their travels, representing moments particularly important to them. Join us as we go on a journey through time to explore the significance of each. Check the podcast description to view the images of these treasured memories.
Photographs and Memories.
Simone is a journalist, keynote speaker, published author, lecturer, and consultant specializing in travel technology. During his 25-year career, he has been a general manager at a boutique hotel and vice president of global accounts for a French-American web agency. In 2017, he founded Travel Singularity consulting firm, where he has advised many hotel groups and travel startups.
Photographs and Memories, a travel market life series sponsored by Atomize.
Simone Puorto, welcome to Photographs and Memories.
Thank you for having me.
So you've shared 2 photographs of people and places that represent special moments to you, and a third photo of a souvenir from your travels. During the course of our conversation, you will take us on a journey through time, reflecting on the significance of each photograph. But before we begin, please tell us how you came to work in the hospitality industry.
Oh, that's a good one. As many people, I didn't want to. So I was 19 at the time, and I wanted to believe it or not, I wanted to be a philosophy teacher. So I was still studying philosophy, and I needed to pay for my studies. And I said, look, what is the dumbest work I can get? And I said, let's go and be a hotel receptionist. And then I realized that it wasn't that dumb. It was pretty hard. And but I kind of liked it after a while. So I started working and became a front office manager, and then I worked a lot in MICE. Became general manager for a small chain of boutique hotels in Italy, and this was around probably 09, 10, more or less. And I wanted to help hoteliers mainly with their tech and to give like a better level of consulting. And this is when I opened my own consulting firm, and we're talking now probably 2017, something like that. So I started just adding some level of science fiction to the consulting, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, but it was a lot of fun. And after this, especially after COVID, and this new need of labor shortage, need of automation, and everybody's talking about automation now. In the meantime, not to get bored, I wrote 4 books, and I started working quite heavily with different Web3 projects, mainly in metaverse and NFTs. And yeah, that's pretty much my story.
So let's have a look at your first photograph. I'm really fascinated to hear about the story behind your love affair with Joy Division and Ian Curtis.
Yeah, that's a very long love story, longer than the one with my wife, actually. There is always. I'm a music freak. Okay, I'm very into music. You can say I'm a failed musician. And I wanted, I played in many punk bands when I was very young. I think my first punk band I was probably 12 or 13. So I always had this great interest in music. But I don't know, and I always listened to pretty much everything. But the first time, and I do remember that a friend of mine came with a VHS tape of, it was all black, and there was this just white on black on with this very minimal font, and it said Joy Division. And I said, what is that? And we watched the concert, and I didn't know what to do with that, because it was like everything was pretty dark, and It was probably fan made, so the sound was horrible. But there was something, looking at this amazing performer that Curtis was like a revelation. So I wanted to know more about that. And this was pre-internet, of course, so you had to go to record shops, or to get in touch with friends, or to exchange tapes over the mail. And so I started getting music from Joy Division, and I started falling in love with the music, with the lyrics. And I started listening a lot to what we call now gothic music. But Joy Division always had something different. They were not, to me, they're still not a sad band to a certain extent. It's just, but it's like if you go to Manchester for the first time, you see that's okay. That's Joy Division. Okay, that's you see the buildings, and you see like everything is so factorish, and you understand that they really were able to create the sound of a city, and that is always amazed me. I think the only other musician that was able to do that probably was David Bowie when he was in Berlin, and he did something similar. So to cut a long story short, I fell in love with Joy Division, but I'd never been to Manchester, believe it or not. So a couple of months ago, I knew that Peter Hook, that was the original bass player for Joy Division and New Order, was playing, and he was playing all the Joy Division discography. And I said, okay, let's go. The only place I could go to watch the concert was London. But then my wife said, okay, I want to come too. I said, okay, let's go. And but why don't we stay a little longer? Maybe we meet my brother. The brother of my wife lives in Leeds, and so it became like a 10-day vacation. I said, you know what? Okay, let's do it. Let's do it right for once. So let's go, and let's go to all the Joy Division important places. So of course I went to Macclesfield, and that was the place where Curtis lived and unfortunately died. And then of course it was Manchester. It was like the Joy Division city. And the photograph you're looking at is from a mural made by an artist called Axe. And this unfortunately is gone now. And this is like very recent news, just last week. And the story is pretty sad, because this mural was painted not only to celebrate one of the musicians from Manchester. This was painted to raise awareness around mental health problems. Curtis killed himself at 23. That is, it's very sad. And this rapper, I'm not even saying the name because I apologize that it makes no sense. But this rapper put an advertisement of his new album on top of the original mural, and it's still unclear who's responsible. The artist says is not responsible. Amazon Music uh, mm, explained that they didn't exactly know what was going on, but still the mural is gone, and there's no way to restore it. Unfortunately, with black paint, there's nothing you can do. So the only thing Manchester is doing now is they're trying probably a new spot to spray paint a new mural of Curtis. But to me, it was first of all, it was very beautiful. I need to tell you that. It's and I've seen photos before going there, but seeing it in person was great. And second of all, it was pretty sad because it was really advertisement over a very serious issue. And every day I think, look, if it was 23, it was naive, and maybe if he could just survive a couple of more years, and like New Order became super famous, and maybe he would have become famous as well, and I will be listening to new Ian Curtis music today, and unfortunately that's not the case. So that's pretty sad. And that is why I sent you the image with a name on the JPEG, and that is Money Will Tear Us Apart, because that's a reference to a very famous Joy Division song that is Love Will Tear Us Apart. But in this case, Money won, unfortunately. And even though I'm in advertisements, this was very disrespectful.
Yeah, very sad. And as you said, mental illness is a huge problem now, and hopefully getting more attention, and so, people with mental illness getting more support than they would have done back in Curtis's day. So let's look at your next photograph, which is the complete opposite. And as a technology guy, quite an interesting one. Tell me about it.
So, another passion of mine is Eastern religions. So, and I've been studying Buddhism for quite a long time, especially Japanese Buddhism. And I'm really into manga as well. I'm a big Yukio Mishima fan. So I love a lot of things about Japan. And on top of that, I'm a toy collector. So if you go to my place, you will find a lot of Godzilla toys and stuff from the 80s. So to me, going to Japan was like the trip. I said, let's go like a couple of weeks, and I will buy like a ton of toys. And so the plan was we visit toy shops and Buddhist temples. That is strange strange connection. But so the best way to do it is to go to Kyoto. They have some of the most beautiful temples, and one of those it's called Kodaji, and I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing it very wrong. But the interesting thing about that is, first of all, it's 400-year-old temple, so it's amazing. And second thing is that the monk in the temple is not human, but it's actually a cyborg. It's artificial. It's a project made by it's a collaboration between the Osaka University. The professor is called, again, I could be pronouncing it wrong, Hiroshi Ishiguro, and it was created to bring more people to, especially young people, to Buddhism. That is losing believers year after year. And so if you go there, you will see this android reciting what is called the Heart Sutra, and it's a Buddhist sutra. It's probably the most well known of the sutras, and it's a very bizarre experience because you got this amazing like $1 million machine that is giving you is telling you these deep words about humanity. And the first thing that I thought, even though I'm a techno enthusiast, as you can tell, and I thought, if we do something like that in Europe, this will be like blasphemy. And so I was curious, and at the end there was a few human monks, and I said, "Look, can I ask you something?" And my wife, she speaks a little bit of Japanese, so it was a bizarre conversation, but we did it at the end. I said, "Look, if we do something like that in Europe, like in Italy, for example, I'm Italian, like this will be like, imagine a cyborg pope." That will be like total blasphemy. And he gave me this amazing answer. He said, "Look, we've been living with robots for so long, and they have this crazy low natality rate, for example. So for them, it's pretty normal to have robots. For example, look, if you go to Japan and you need to go to the hospital for whatever reason, chances are that you will find a robot that will take you from one bed to another, because they don't have enough young people to do that. And that's been a problem for 25 years. And as I said, they said, look, we for us, robots, it's just part of our culture. And he said, look, don't you watch like cartoons? And I started thinking, yeah, it's right. I grew up with big robots from the 70s and the 80s. And on top of that, what you need to understand about the Buddhism is that it's a non-dualistic religion. Okay, it's not even a religion, actually. It's more a philosophy. There's no God. in Buddhism. You just follow the Buddha's path, and the path can be shown by anybody, in anything. So human, machine, a tree, whatever, and anything, anyone can reach this enlightenment that is the Buddha nature, that's
Fascinating.
awakening.
Yeah.
So to me, it was amazing because you had this at first, and I think for us it was very bizarre. And that started, I got in touch with the temple, I got in touch with the university because I wanted to know more, of course. And they told me more about the fact that right now there's no real AI involved. So the only thing the cyborg can do is recite this sutra, but they're working to add a layer of machine learning so that at least in the main idea of Professor Ishiguro and the monks, this will become like a immortal uh, immortal message for Buddhism. Okay, that will learn and learn and learn with by talking to other monks or by talking to people. And to me, that's pretty fascinating. In a way, it's very, very fascinating.
Yeah, incredible. And I'm sure, just going back to the earlier point we made about technology in hotels and how technology can free up some of the tasks that humans are performing now and make the jobs more interesting. I mean, the fact that a religion or a doctrine has sort of adopted technology fully like this really is a path forward for hotels, or a beacon for hotels to consider, I'm sure. So let's have a look at your souvenir. A couple of beer bottles, pretty ordinary, right?
Yeah. So I'm a big Lost fan. Okay, I still think to this day that Lost was the best show ever made, ever aired in television. Especially like the pilot was amazing. And in Barcelona, there was unfortunately closed a few months ago a bar completely dedicated to Lost, and that is called used to be called Parma. And they sold a lot of stuff, and I was able to buy a couple of I don't know if you can see it in my camera, but a couple of Parma beers. And so if you remember the episode, I don't know, have you ever first question, have you ever watched Lost or not?
I have never watched it, I have to confess, but I'm aware of
Yeah.
it. But yeah, inform me.
Yeah, okay. So the first thing, you need to watch Lost, and then we can talk again. We can be friends again after that. But
It's on my list.
yeah, but so long story short, the plane crashes on an island, and there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. That's Lost in a nutshell. Okay, 6 seasons of Lost can be concise in that. But these guys, they had no food, they had nothing, and at some point you got this like macho character, and he opened like box, and inside this box there's a lot of beer from this organization that was called the Dharma organization. And funny story, when I opened my first hotel, the name of the hotel was Dharma, and that was another reference to Lost. And so it's full circle. So whenever I used to go to Barcelona, I always try to go there because you got some relics and you got a lot of autographs from actors that played in Lost, and every time I just was trying to buy something. Honestly, I had more. I drank a few of those. They were good, but I just want to keep those. They are kind of falling apart now. They're probably 10 years, but yeah, I think it's a pretty cool souvenir. On top of that, from a touristic point of view, this was an area of Barcelona where you usually don't go if you're a tourist. Yeah.
So we're running out of time really quickly.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, as a hotelier, you would have experienced some unusual incidents on property. So please, we have this Fawlty Towers moment in the series. So please share your Fawlty Towers moment with us.
So let me tell you the story. We were doing this building this boutique hotel, and originally this was a office. Okay, so this was not built to be an accommodation provider. and we wanted to do something cool. And we came up with the idea. Well, the architect came up with the idea of bio. How do you call that? Bio fireplaces. These are like fireplaces that go with gas or whatever. And so we had the photo shooting, and the photographer is a close friend of mine, and I was looking at the fire. I said, look, it looks cool, but I want a little more fire. And I asked the architect, is it fine if we put a little more fire? Yeah, sure, no problem. And so we put a little more gas, and we had a little more fire. But the photographer was not convinced. And I'm like, look, I can Photoshop that, but if we can have a little more real fire, that would be great. And I asked the architect, are we good with fire safety? Everything is under control? I said, yeah, it's Italy. Yeah, more or less. And said, okay, let's try. And at some point, out of the blue, everything started to burn down. And this was one day before the opening. So what you're looking at. So first of all, I didn't know what to do. And the photographer was quick enough to go to the bathroom, take a couple of wet towels, and we had to extinguish the fire in a way, because we didn't even have fire extinguisher. It's just crazy thinking about now. It's like everybody could go to jail that day. And but the day after, we had the first client coming up, and we were fully booked. So, and you see from the picture, everything is black. And originally, this was very light shade of wood. So the only thing I thought was, okay, let's go and buy some black spray paint, and we black spray paint everything. So that was the best suite of the hotel, and it was fully booked for the first week. So the first week, everybody that slept in that room slept with this, smell of black paint, and they never know that, behind that black paint, there was everything was taking fire. So yeah, it happens.
Brilliant. True Fawlty Towers moment. Well, Simone, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you once again for being on Photographs and Memories.
Yeah, thank you. It was great. Thank you.
Photographs and Memories, sponsored by Atomize, produced by Haynes Marcoms as a Travel Market Life series. For more, visit travelmarket.life.